This is the last call for alcohol to my niggas. So get your ass up off the wall. Give me a second. Okay, let me stop this shit. All right. What's going on, y'all? I be trying to give y'all some time to, catch up with what I got going on, but y'all gotta understand this shit is in me and not on me. I could 1 second be working on something, an hour later I'll be done completely working on something else. That's how frequent I move when it comes down to designing. Like I'm moving. I finish one customer, I'm working on another person. I'm like to the point where I'm knocking out like multiple people per day, every day. I've been doing this for years, so it's just in me. As you can see on the screen, or you can see from the description, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be designing again a Cleveland show character. That was a tutorial that kind of flew over everybody's heads, because I think that was the lowest viewed one. So we did Cleveland Junior last time. This time we'll actually do Cleveland. And I was just showing everybody that this is a very easy process to create a Cleveland show character. Why the fuck am I getting all twisted and tangled with saying that? It is not that complicated to create a Cleveland show character. And really what it is just focusing on your line work. I actually wouldn't even recommend somebody doing a Cleveland show character with a pen tablet. I would always recommend you straight up use just use straight up the program, because with Cleveland show, I'm telling you, I think they use Illustrator for that show, for Family Guy, American Dad, all of that, just by how clean the lines are. Like that looks like the work of Illustrator. That looks like vector based graphics and probably Adobe animation and shit like that, or After Effects. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into the video. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, when you get a project like this, one of the first things you want to do is grab the picture. Excuse me. What you want to do is grab the picture and then drag it into Illustrator. Once you drag it into Illustrator, double click on the picture. Not on the picture, on the layer. On the bottom right hand corner of the screen, as you can see, it's layer. It's a blue layer and a red layer. Red layer is layer 2. Layer 1 is the blue one. Double click on that layer. Once you double click on it, a menu will pop up that says layer options. Click on the template check mark and then press OK. Once you press OK, your project is going to look like how my project looks now. If you notice, he's lighter. That means the opacity is taken down. Now what you want to do is identify your project just by looking at it, seeing what all you'll need. Just from looking at this, I can tell I'll just be using the pen tool, the curvature tool, and the shape tool to get those shapes. Like if you look at his eyes, those are the circles. I can use the line tool for, his eyelashes, his nose. Everything is just all shapes and different things built with the pen tool and the curvature tool. So let me make sure I'm live on each site real quick, just to be sure, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, I just got approval that my ads are running, so that's good. Let's check YouTube, see if we in the game. I just want to make sure I'm live. Okay, YouTube, I am live. Let me make sure I'm muted on that. Let's check Trovo. Okay, cool. Trovo, we are live. Let's mute up on that. Let's check Twitch. See if we live. And Twitch, we live. As you can see, the echo. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get started, y'all. To everybody who is currently watching or who will be watching this video later on, I first off want to let you know that I honestly, truly appreciate you for always coming in and checking out these videos. Like I always say, when I create these videos, y'all do not have to stay the entire time. But, you know, if you just want to enjoy yourself and sit down and watch, I have no problem with that. I just would really recommend people to follow these tutorials once you have some time and once you're on Illustrator. Sometimes it's hard to follow what I'm doing if you're watching me from a perspective of just watching. If you're watching with Illustrator and you're watching this video after it's live, then, you know, you can rewind back and you know, keep up. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and get started. So I'm already like looking at this project and I already know what to hit. So the first thing I'm going to hit is the eyes. It's only because the eyes is the circle. So I'm going to right click on the shape tool, choose the circle, which on the shape tool is called the ellipse tool. The circle is called the ellipse tool. So click that, hold shift, and then drag out a circle. Now remember, on Family Guy, Cleveland Show, all of those type of shows, the lines are always thin. Not too thin, but they keep them thin. They're usually like a 0.5 pt. And what we do is let's right click that, choose the line segment, hold shift to make that straight line, boom. Let's right click on the shape tool again. Let's drag out another circle. Just like that, boom. Remember, Cleveland eyes always look like he's high. You want to make sure you keep those dots close to, you know, close to that line. Let's go ahead and get these shapes together. He has those bags under his eyes. They use that to signify that he's an older gentleman. Not that he's high, but he does look very high. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why they do that. But let me make the circles a little bit smaller. And if you notice, I'm overlapping the lines for a reason, because later on I'm going to go back and clean that up. If you don't want to overlap the lines, that's completely fine with you. It just works way more effective once you want those clean lines. So what you want to do is, once you notice like duplicate shapes, what you want to do is select that entire shape you want to duplicate. There's three ways you can do this. You can hold Option and drag it over. That's one way to duplicate it. You can Command C, Command V, or you can Command C and then Command F. That's what I'm gonna do. Command C, Command F. Now what you do, you've pasted it in front of the original image that you just did. So what I'm gonna do is just drag it over and hold Shift as I'm dragging it. Just like that, boom. So once you drag it over, that's gonna give you that exact same eye on the other side. So now what we want to do, let me erase that because we don't need that. Now let's get his nose in order. Now if you notice, one thing about Cleveland is they don't make him look like a like the black characters that they used to create back in the day. How the characters used to have like those extreme noses, extreme big lips and shit like that. I'm very glad that they didn't make Cleveland look goofy like that. They basically gave him the vibe of a older black gentleman. And, you know, usually I complain about hairlines, but once a lot of black men are older, they don't like really focus on the whole hairline thing, because a lot of them are like losing their hair. And then, you know, like they kind of kept him like, you know, really basic. They didn't really make him too ridiculous. Now, this mustache has always been kind of questionable to me because his mustache is kind of weird. But like just them creating him as a character overall, I feel like they didn't get too weird and ridiculous. But don't get it twisted. Family Guy does get weird and ridiculous, and they do get crazy with that racist shit sometimes. But I don't feel like they just choose one race though. They get on everybody's ass. So if you're just checking in right now, all we're doing is just the line work. I'm going to stop in a second. I'm going to check and see if anybody had any questions or was just checking in. Just give me 1 second. Let's get these lines out the way. I was actually going to work on my guy Diz's project, but he didn't respond, and I don't want to work on that without him giving me the go. So he has an afro. I'm gonna show y'all a method that I literally created of how I create afros on simple characters like these. Let me stop and check. Make sure nobody said nothing. Okay, Facebook, we good. Let's see, YouTube, we good. Trovo, we're good. Twitch, we're good. Okay, let's continue. Oh, it says, who is that? Are you drawing yourself? Yo, shout out to Nomad Lover. No, I am not drawing myself. Do I look like this? No, I'm not drawing myself. I'm not that big, even though I guess I might look big just from this angle or whatever. No, this is Cleveland. This is not me. That's funny though. I know that I have gained weight over the years and I may look like a middle-aged black man, but I assure you I'm only 30. I'm not that old and I'm not that big. Well, I actually am big. Don't get it twisted. I'm 6'4", but when I'm wearing shoes, I'm 6'5". I'm very large, but I'm not large in that type of way. Hell no. This is a picture of you. This is not. I'm obviously tracing over Cleveland Brown. This is not me. That was definitely a troll. Let me see. Let me go back and see. Yeah, that threw me off. It said, you don't look middle-aged, you look young. I meant the mustache. Oh, yeah. No, but that's not me. 30, I wouldn't consider 30 young, but I'm grown. I say that. Yeah, yeah. That's me. This is me drawing. Oh, if that what you mean? Like, do you mean, are you drawing yourself? Like, am I drawing? Yes, I am currently drawing. If that's what you meant, I'm not sure. Okay, so let me try to teach y'all this real quick to the people who are currently watching and the people who will be watching back this video on YouTube. The way that I do afros, this is like a shortcut. So when you're working on a black character, African American, whatever you want to call it, and the character has an afro, there's a method of how I do the afro. So what I do is I take the pen tool and I make like just a bunch of straight lines around the hairline. So basically I just do like this. I just make a bunch of anchor points like that. Boom, 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 boom. So you want to do this all the way until we get to the ear. Now remember, Cleveland's hairline isn't like super perfect and straight. Like if you notice, like with a lot of us younger people, our hairlines go straight around, straight down, and come around. Now Cleveland is all afro. There is no like straight lines and all of that. They want him to, well, when they designed him to be all afro. So what I do is I make all of those anchor points, and then what I do is I bend them with the curvature tool. So just bend them just like that. Boom, boom. You basically just bend it like that. Now, I don't think this is the method that they use, but you never know. This may be a method that other people use, and I just never have seen anybody speak on it. But this is a method that I use whenever I'm doing an afro on a black character. So I'm doing the same thing. We going around, and we just coming around. The main reason why I think I thought of this is because this saves you a lot of time instead of having to like, so like let's say you was using a pen tablet, instead of making like a million curly strokes, you could just, just make these straight lines and then curve them out. So let me make this line right here for his forehead. And then what we're going to do now is just start bending. Just start bending out. Now this picture is so pixelated, I can't see what his exact afro looks like. And I don't even think I can find an actual vector version of Cleveland Brown. So right now I'm just what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just improvising. I'm just improvising based off these lines. I mean these anchor points. And I'm just improvising and making sure his afro has that pop. Especially like an older black gentleman that has an afro, they don't really get it lined up like that unless, you know, they frequent the barbershops. So as you can see now, we have his afro. So that's a little tip. If you are a person, if you're not a person of color, he said, I meant it like that. Yes. Yo, shout out to Nomad Lover. Okay. I understand what you meant now. That's my bad. I'm thinking you saying, asking me, am I drawing me? Okay. But yeah, I appreciate you clarifying that. But yeah, as you can see, if you just now checking into this video, I'm just doing line work for Cleveland Brown. That's all we doing right now. We'll eventually get into color. What we won't be doing is the highlights and shadows. I don't find it to be that serious to be doing highlights and shadows on this project. We really just mainly want to get the line work and just the basic colors. Now, when Family Guy and all that first came out, I don't even think they had highlights and shadows on the characters. I think that was like something they start doing in the newer Family Guy. In the newer Family Guy, you can tell everything is digital. When Family Guy initially came out, if I'm not mistaken, they were actually using animation cells. So it probably was people actually in the studio drawing it. But nowadays, I think that they just only, you know, everything is all digital. So that's the main reason why if you look at Family Guy, everything is like the movements is different. And if you notice, they have shadows and highlights on every episode, almost every character now. And if you look at the original Family Guy of when it first came out, it doesn't look the same. That's only because the platforms are completely different of what they use to create the cartoons. But it's probably like different people drawing it and everything since everything is digital. It's no longer the manual drawers. So let me check everything. Make sure it's no questions. Okay, I think we're good. It's a match to rival Pancake Live. Okay, let's see. Facebook, let's refresh. And we good, no questions. Let's continue. All right, let's continue. Mr. Cleveland Brown. Don't worry about that background noise. I live literally right in front of the street. And my room is like right here in front of the street. So that's why sometimes you might hear a car go flying past or whatever. As you can see, if you're watching, all I'm doing is his line work. Trying to get his line work very close to the original. As you see, I'm using the pen tool, making those straight lines. And then I'm using the curvature tool to belly right over, right here on his man boob. You want to make sure you get that line work correctly. A lot of times when you're doing this type of line work, you want to make sure you add many anchor points that you feel comfortable with, and make sure that you're getting these lines right. Now, I'm not saying I need perfection for this specifically, because this will be more of a personal project. But if you are working for a customer, you want to make sure you're getting your lines as close as possible. You know, you want for when people to see your project to say that person took their time on that project and made sure it was good. Matter of fact, should I get straight into the shoe? Yeah, let's get straight into the shoe from there. I want that to make sense. Boom. Use the pen tool. See, create these anchor points. Use shift to get that straightened up. I might move that over. Move that over a little bit. Okay, once you got that straightened, now let's use the curvature tool and bend it. Let's bend this character, make it look right. If you're just now checking in, understand that I overshoot the lines for a reason. I'm not doing that unnecessarily. This is not an amateur move. This method will help you if you are an amateur. This method will help you keep in those straight lines, and by the time you finish, you will have those crispy lines. You want to make sure anytime you're doing character work for somebody or even for yourself, always make sure you have your lines as clean as possible. In the cartoon world, cartoonist world, a lot of times when we see lines that don't, look up to par, that aren't straight, and it looks like you drew it with a cheap graphics tablet with 720p graphics on it. A lot of times we're not looking at that with seriousness. You want when people to see a project, you want to look like you know something. You don't want to look like an amateur. But if you're an amateur, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying if you're trying to get clients, when you're trying to get clients, you want to be putting your best work forward. You know what I'm saying? You want when people to shop with you, you want them to feel like it's justified when they pay you top dollar to create a project. You want your projects to look like top dollar. You don't want them to look like they've been rushed through. Okay, so as you can see, we have all of Cleveland's line work done. Before we go to the next step, I'm gonna check everything, make sure there is no questions or comments, and we're gonna go ahead and go to this next step. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I don't see anything, so let's go ahead and go to the next step. So once you get to this step in your project, you want to just zoom in and identify and make sure you don't miss anything. And if this is a project that you are personally working on for yourself, do the same thing. Even if you're tracing off of a sketch that you created, make sure that you go through and really analyze and make sure there are no details that you missed in this project before you get to this next step. So once you feel comfortable with everything you did, what you want to do is grab your selection tool, which is the black mouse right here on the top left of the screen, on the left side toolbar. And what you want to do is select this entire project. Once the entire project is selected, the way it's highlighted right here, how you see red right there, what you want to do is go to the top of the screen, click on Object, and click on Group. Boom. Go back to the top of the screen, click on Object again, and go down to Expand and click it. Then the Expand menu pops up. Don't change anything, just click OK. Boom. Once you click OK, now the project has been expanded. It is no longer lines. It is now shapes. Now what you want to do is go to the right side toolbar and click on your Pathfinder menu. Your Pathfinder button. But if you do not see the Pathfinder button, do not worry. You didn't do anything wrong and it's not glitched out. What you want to do is go to the top. If you don't see the Pathfinder button. Hold up, my camera done drifted off. Drifted off. My bad, y'all. But this is for people if you don't see the Pathfinder button, which is the button I'm hovering over right now. If you don't see that button, what I want you to do is go to the top of the screen and click on Window. Once you click on Window, scroll down to P's. It's a bunch of names on here. You scroll down to the P's. You should see Pathfinder. Right above Pathfinder is Navigator. Right under Pathfinder is Pattern Options. Click on Pathfinder. Boom. Once you click on that, the Pathfinder button is going to pop up. So then once the Pathfinder button pops up, it's going to be a little menu right here. Y'all probably can't see that, but you will see what I'm talking about if you have Illustrator open and you're following these instructions. click on divide. Divide is the bottom left button in that menu. Click divide. Boom. Once you click divide, it's going to look like nothing happened. Do not worry. What I want you to do is just click off your project. Boom. So what I want you to do now is click on your white selection tool. The selection tool is called the direct selection tool. Hover your mouse over that white mouse. It's called the direct selection tool. If you hover your mouse over it, the name will pop up just so you don't miss it. Click on that. And now what I want you to do is click on all those access lines that we created. If you noticed in this project, I overshooted my lines to where if you look at my line work, it looked like I was going over. I was going over for a reason, because that is how you get rid of all of those. That is how you create those very crispy lines. So now what I want you to do is just click on the line and delete them. Each line and just delete it. Just click on it, delete it. Just keep hitting delete till it's gone. Keep hitting delete till it's gone. Now, what you want to do to speed up this process, let's say you're working on a project for a customer, what you want to do is move a little bit faster. So what you want to do is hold shift and start clicking on them. Click on as many as you want to. I don't care if you could do in the whole project. Just hold shift and start clicking on all the ones you want to get rid of. Just hold shift and keep clicking them. I'm not going to click all of them. I'm just showing you guys an example, right? So now that I have all of these selected, make sure you're still holding shift. I want you to let go of shift. Let go of shift, and then what I want you to do is hit that delete button until everything is gone. As you can see, we got rid of all those access lines. Look at that. It almost looks like the original now. Now let's get rid of the rest. Let's just go through the project and start getting rid of it. Hold shift. Let's start clicking them. Let's start clicking. You should be going crazy with the clicking right now. Now, if you have a more detailed project, I wouldn't recommend this method, because if anything, you'll be clicking all goddamn day. But sometimes it works too. But this is more for this Family Guy type of character. Cleveland show. Same shit though. Okay, as you can see now we have all the line work done. But before we go to the next step, I want you to look through your project and inspect it. Make sure you didn't miss any lines. Make sure you zoom in and check. I did the line work good on this. You can always tell if you did your line work real good, because if you zoom in, you're not seeing no flaws. Nothing looks overly spiky. None of the lines are weird and squiggly. You want all these lines to be clean and straight. You see how clean and straight these lines are. Okay. Now, before we go to the next step, let me make sure there's no questions. Let's check. Shout out to, who is that? George David Cordontello, Justin Carter, a couple other people. Shout out to everybody hitting like on my picture. If you was with me earlier, you know I did the Sea Bear and Jamal cartoon. Go ahead and check out my previous videos to see the tutorials I did on that. But let's check and see. Was it any questions? Any questions? Nope. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and go to the next step. So now that we are at this step, what I want you to do, once you have all your access lines, you got rid of all of them. What I want you to do is grab that regular selection tool, the black one, and select the entire project. Once you select the entire project, the whole thing should be highlighted in this exact manner. Hold on, my camera still looks like it's flying off the hinges. Okay, it really doesn't matter, because I want you to don't pay attention to me, pay attention to the project. Once the entire thing is selected, this is what I want you to do. Go to the top of the screen, click on Object, scroll down to Live Paint, and then click Make. Boom. Once you click Make, it's going to look like the whole entire project is selected again. Don't worry about that. Just click off of it. Boom. Now, one of the first things I always do is color in all the blacks. Because now your project is ready to be colored. So what I want you to do is click on the Live Paint bucket. It should be on the left side of your toolbar all the way down. But if you have your toolbar long ways, it should be all the way on the bottom like that. Just click on that. Boom. If you do not see the Live Paint bucket tool, what I want you to do is click these three dots right here on the bottom of the toolbar, and then just choose it out of that toolbar. So now the way that you would know if you did this right is if you hover your mouse over each one of these areas, you'll notice that the colors pop in. You notice how it's highlighted when I drag my mouse. Excuse me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Excuse me. Once you drag your mouse over each area, you'll notice that it highlights. That means that you did this process right. So first thing I'm going to do is color in all the blacks. The thing I like about this is once you start coloring in all the blacks, you start seeing what this character actually looks like. Now it actually looks like Cleveland Brown. I believe that's everything that's black. His shoes, I believe, are more of a gray. Let's change that template to about 99. Let's do that so we can get his original color. So what we want to do is, if you want to take the color, you could either make two choices. You could either create your own color manually and put it into what you can do is double click the color box, choose your own color manually, and then start coloring him. But what I want to do, I want to get the original colors from the original Cleveland Brown. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring the template layer back open, take it back up to 99%. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool. It's the sixth tool down on the right side of the left side toolbar. And if your toolbar is long ways, it just looks like a squirt bottle. Hover your mouse over it if you don't see the name of it. And the name should pop up. Click on that eyedropper tool and click on the color that you want. I'm going to do his skin first. So I'm going to click on his skin with the eyedropper tool. Get rid of that layer. Don't get rid of the layer. Hit the eye on the layer to hide that layer. And then what I want you to do is click your paint bucket tool and let's start coloring in his skin. Very simple. All you have to do is just click it in. If you see all those white lines, do not worry. You didn't do anything wrong. Just paint those white lines in. Just paint them in. This shouldn't take long at all. It's just a bunch of clicking. There's a bunch of clicking. Clicking, clicking, clicking. You see? Now Cleveland is starting to have his original look. If you look at him, if you're doing this process the right way that I'm walking you through it, by the time you're done, it should look like you literally ripped this off of one of the creators of the Cleveland show. Or excuse me, one of the designers of the Cleveland show. It should look like this. It should look very clean. It should look like you literally work for the company. You see how clean that is? You see how close we're getting. Now let's do the same thing as we did last time. Bring back that layer, grab that eyedropper tool, and click on whatever you want to use. So let's do a shirt. His shirt is the only thing yellow. Let's do that shirt. Grab our live paint bucket tool, and let's start painting stuff in. Make sure we fill in all the colors. Fill in all the colors. Okay, I think that's it. Let's do the same thing again. Bring back that layer, eyedropper tool, click on pans, hide the layer. Let's go back and start coloring. Boom. 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 Almost done. All we have left is the shoes. Let's do the same thing. Well, let me color his eyes white real quick. Let's color in his eyes real quick. Boom. Okay. Last but not least, the shoes. Bring that layer back in. Use that eyedropper tool. His shoes is, I think, like a dark brown. Yep, they are dark brown. Make sure you paint them in. Boom, boom. And just like that, we officially have created Cleveland Brown from the Cleveland show and from Family Guy. And just to show you the difference, what we're going to do is drag that original image over to the left. And look at that. Boom. Now I do see a detail missing, which is the bag under that eye. So what you want to do is just start a new layer, and whatever details you feel like you may have missed, just create them. Let me put some color on my line tool, change that back to black, and let's go ahead and put that line under the other eye. So what we're going to do is just with the curvature tool, take this line, put her like that, and then bend it. And because it's super thick right now, let's take it down to 0.5 like we had, 0.5, and have it like that. So boom. And that's pretty much it. This is how you create a Cleveland show character. Now understand, I'm not showing you guys the full thing because I could get crazy with this. I could add the shadows. If you notice the back of him, you see the shadows right there on his pants, between the legs. And like I was telling y'all in the last video, once you do colors, shadows, and highlights, the shadows, you want to make sure those are always behind the character, because in the front where you can see the highlights or whatever, the highlights are supposed to represent the light source coming through the character, and then the shadows is supposed to be, covering the shadows as if it was real life and the light was beaming down on him from that direction. So anytime you're adding shadows and highlights, always keep that in mind when you're working on a project. That is how the most cartoonists create shadows and highlights for these characters. It's very hard to teach that to people. It's kind of something you just have to look at something and be able to eyeball it. Now, I can teach you how to add shadows, but knowing where to add them, that's something that you kind of have to judge yourself based off what you know and what you can see. So that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna go through, check and see if it's any questions or anything, and we can go ahead and jump right up off of this. Okay, Facebook, we good. YouTube, we good. Trovo, we good. Shout out to my guy Cookies for coming in. And Twitch, we good. Shout out to Nomad Lover for coming in. This was just a quick tutorial, y'all. We didn't get too crazy and take all night tonight. You know what I'm saying? This was just a quick one to throw out there. And tomorrow, if not tomorrow, I would say and probably sometime tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, I'll be able to work on an actual single cover design for a song that we did, and we kind of flipped the Wild Thornberries look. So that should be interesting to actually show y'all a tutorial of how to do. So I appreciate everybody who checked out this video. And if you have any questions or anything, once I hop up off of here, y'all know what to do. Contact me on social media. I'm on Trovo, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, all at the same time. Just search J Damage on TikTok, Twitter, and J Damage Designs on Instagram, and I will make sure I get back to you. And if you do need me for a one-on-one session, that will cost you. I'm J Damage. I appreciate you guys for checking out this video. I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. Peace out.